broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
There's that chant.
Yes, there it is.
It's really beautiful.
It's like yoga.
Yeah, it is. It is like yoga. Hello, AfterBuzzers. Thank you for joining us for the season premiere of Marco Polo. I am your host, June Lee, and joining me is AfterBuzz host Michael. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, yes, my name is Michael Drew. Hi, AfterBuzzers. Welcome to Marco Polo. All right.
Nice. Yeah. So we'll be covering 2 episodes today.
Yes.
The Wayfarer and The Wolf and the Deer.
Yes.
So let's jump right in.
Okay.
So the first scene that we see is this destroyed, demolished village.
Yes.
And
yes.
you really see like the wrath of Kublai Khan. And I thought that was really interesting because, you know, he doesn't strike me as like a mean guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you get that feeling?
No, yeah. When you first meet him, that's not. It's.
That's not the way that he's portrayed.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, you know, we had that Chinese woman who was like, oh, the devil.
Oh yeah, when
the barbarian devil king did this, and like it was very dramatic, and people were like on stakes, and it was very gruesome, and it was very scary, and we see the whole Marco Polo family there, and they're just like, what is going on? And then this guy gets freaked out all of a sudden, and he tries to make a run for it. And then he gets killed.
It's like Marco's introduction.
Yeah.
To like
Kublai.
Khan, to Khan's like his whole
world.
Village.
I know.
It was pretty wild.
It was scary.
When you first meet him, I just didn't feel like he was very cool and calm.
Yeah.
And he had this power hungry thing going.
Yes.
He seemed to be very, I don't know, wise.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you bring that up because he is a very wise ruler. You know, so the whole reason why Kublai is angry and, you know, orders everybody that Marco Polo came with is because they failed to bring the priests, the Christian priests.
Yeah.
Kublai really wanted to bring the priests to his village, Kambilak, so that his people could have access to Christian priests. I'm not sure. But, you know, so they failed to do that. And, you know, that's kind of why they're sort of in trouble. Yeah,
which is another thing that makes Kublai look kind of, which kind of intrigued him to me. It's like he's not like a stereotypical, like evil, controlling.
Absolutely.
Like
he's
dictator.
very forward, forward thinking, you know? He's just saying like, you know, I want what I want, you want what you want, let's figure out a mutually beneficial relationship. I open my trades to you, I want the priest, but you failed to bring the priest, so now I'm going to kill you.
It's all very strategic, because it's like everything he does is like, he knows if he forces a thought process on you, it will like cause rebellion.
Exactly.
As long as you like follow him, but you still have your freedom. It's the same way he, well, and not to get too far ahead, but it's kind of the same way he kind of holds Marco in place.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, you can go wherever you want, but you're still you're still my guy.
Yeah.
You know?
And like, I know I hate to jump ahead to the second episode, but you know, right before that epic battle between Eric and Kublai, they have this heartbreaking conversation, you know, and Kublai tells him that a wise ruler lets his people kind of
should we have done a spoiler alert for that? What if someone's watching this and they haven't seen episode 2 yet?
But we already announced that we're going to be talking about episode 1 and 2.
All right, just in case.
Yeah,
Spoilers.
we're going to be talking about
for,
episodes 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Well, we wanted to do that because the first episode is a little bit slower. You know, we're getting all the characters, and the writers really, I think, we're trying to pace it in such a way where we can kind of like digest everybody. We meet the Polo family, and then, you know, we're obviously in Mongolia.
Yes.
And we're in the Kublai's the court.
Yeah.
and we meet, Akhman, who is like the Minister of Finance, and we meet Yusuf.
And we met the Empress. Did she come?
Yes, Chabi.
Was she the first episode?
Yes, I think she was in the first episode. She's the one that asks Marco Polo, who like out of all of the villages and all the places that you went to, where did you see the
and
most
like a smooth Italian guy. It's like he literally just laid down every woman in there. It was like
I know.
like, oh, sorry guys.
And then we get that cut to the Blue Princess, and we know something's gonna happen there.
Yeah.
That actress is so beautiful. Isn't
I think
she?
every woman on that show is beautiful.
I know every woman on the show is so
the show
beautiful.
is aesthetically perfect. I mean,
It's
like everything's
it really
really
is. I thought the casting was really well done. Yeah, at first, like, I didn't, well, I mean, like, I'm embarrassed to say that I don't know much about this history. And so part of the reason why I love this show so much is I get to learn about, like, all of these people. Like, Hundred Eyes is, like, one of my favorite characters.
Yeah. My extent to a Marco Polo knowledge is that I used to play it in the pool with my sister. And I'd say Marco Polo with one of our eyes closed.
Right?
So, and I know that he was, like, a great adventurer.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
What did you think about when we got to the point with his father, when they first meet the father, and then the father does what he does and leaves him?
Oh, well, I mean, we really like meet the father in Venice.
Yes.
Right? And then you kind of get the sense that Marco has kind of been on his own and he feels a little bit abandoned. And, I think I felt that the father was, really focused on his work. To say it nicely. Yeah,
I just felt so bad for Marco because it's like he doesn't have his father his whole life. The moment his father comes, that was like his number one goal was to get on that boat with his father.
Yeah.
Then he gets on the boat with his father. Yeah. He hangs out with his father. Yeah. It looks like they're starting to get a relationship. Yeah. And then his father sells him to slavery. Like that has to be.
But do you think that's what happened? Do you think he sold him to slavery? I know Marco Polo feels that way, but I'm trying to figure out what's the bigger goal for Marco's father.
After I've only seen the first 2 episodes. So after the second episode, I kind of said to myself, you know what? Maybe Marco's father saw something in Marco.
I agree.
Where he's like, you know what? This guy can survive. And
I agree.
And from what you've seen from Kublai Khan he's not an unreasonable guy.
Exactly. He's not an irrational person. So he's actually a very smart, cultured person. I was actually, I think it was in the first episode, we kind of see Marco kind of learning the crafts and, learning archery and learning hawking and, even getting martial arts lessons from Hundred Eyes. And I was like,
some of the best scenes.
I was like, I want to be a prisoner.
Yeah, I know. It made you want to be a prisoner.
Yeah, because like it wouldn't be too bad. You know what I mean? And I agree. I think Marco's father saw that his son was special and his son was really, really smart. And I think more than just survival, I think he was hoping that Marco would serve as kind of like a liaison between Kublai and Venice.
Yeah. But you could see that it wasn't a plan because it really came out of nowhere. Like the moment they saw they were about to be sent out and never allowed to use the silk trail again.
The Silk Road, yeah.
He had to think on his feet. But that's crazy that thinking on his feet, the first thing that came to his mind is sell my only child. Like I was like,
sell is such a strong word.
And he didn't even sell because he did get something in return. He gets the road. But it's just to see what Marco's going through. And the one part I always find crazy was when Marco's finally captured and they take him and when they wash him, I always thought that like he can't bathe himself. They need 3 people to hold him down and scrub him.
I know, and like the beard, they were like cutting off the beard.
Like I'm pretty sure he could have washed himself just with them pointing knives at him.
I think it was like an initiation. I think it's either at the end of episode 1. Like towards the more like middle end towards the episode 1 when Marco meets Hundred Eyes, Hundred Eyes kind of makes that comment like, oh, I see why Kublai just kind of kept you in a cage just for his own amusement. Like I think it was kind of like an initiation process. They kind of wanted to break him down a little bit, put him in his place. Right?
Well, it worked. No, because he was pretty depressed at first when he was stuck inside the.
He was depressed.
You see him punching the walls, like his little mini prison sentence.
Yeah, I'm sure. At first he didn't understand what was going on, but let's talk about like the journey of Marco Polo's the journey that Marco Polo's family took to get to the Khan's court. Yeah. It took them at least. It was like 3 years, wasn't it? 3 years. I mean, they go to.
That's a plane ride away now.
That's I know. That's what I was thinking about it. I was like, wow, like I had no idea. I mean, like before they even get to the Taklamakan Desert, I mean, they go through like all of these canyons and all these different places, and I was like, I had no idea like that it would take them years to travel back and forth, you know. So like Marco knows like he's not gonna see his dad for a while.
I know, yeah. The landscape is just so different, and it's like the difference between Venice and Mongolia, like you literally saw the difference between the two lives.
Let's talk about that. Those shots in Venice were so beautiful.
He was just floating on the boat, just collecting change, bartering. Mm-hmm.
And even when you see the sailboat on the sea, it's like so calm and beautiful. Like it was just such beautiful scenery.
Yes.
And then you of course go to the canyons and then the desert and you know what did you think about those like horse riders? What were they?
Yeah, it was. They do such a good job of blending it to the point that like it's not fantasy, but the way it's shot so well. Like you just see the horses running through the sandstorm.
It kind of reminded me of like the Mummy a little bit.
Yeah, it did. Right? Yeah, it did. It was pretty, and I don't think it bothered Marco at all. Like the moment he said, "I'm not afraid," I think he was just reveling in the fact that he's with his father.
Right. I know. And then we had that beautiful moment.
His dad.
We had that beautiful moment of him and his father like sitting under the stars. They're talking about. I think it was the three sisters. You know, and he says like, if you ever find yourself lost, like you need to find your way home, you just follow the three sisters. And I was like, oh.
And he's sold into slavery right after.
Right after. I know.
Right after. But I was going to say that, you can't. It's kind of what Marco asked for. Mm-hmm. And that's the one thing that really stuck out to me.
Yeah.
Like he was in Venice. He chose to leave. And, you never. It's like you never know how great home is until you leave.
Yeah.
He chooses
so
to leave
true.
Beautiful Venice.
I know.
To go down that road. And now he's like he doesn't know if he's gonna live tomorrow.
Right. Well, I mean, he has that adventurous blood in him.
Yeah.
And he has such a noble character, and I think that's part of how I think we're going to see. Well, I know, like, you haven't seen the episode.
Don't spoil me. Don't spoil me.
I know, I won't spoil it. But let's talk about Wu Chang. The Wu Chang battle, because so in Kublai's court, everyone is kind of like, are we Mongolians or are we Chinese?
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then it's all like centered around Wu Chang, which is the town that feeds the wall city that Chancellor Jie Shidao. I hope I'm saying that. Jie Shidao.
I just call him the Chancellor.
Yeah, the Chancellor.
I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to mess it up.
I think it's Jiao Shidao. And I should know this, right?
You're going to lose credit. You're going to lose credit on it.
But so Eric is supposed to be there with the Golden Horde.
Yeah.
And Jing'em, Kublai's son, is there, and he's like, where are they? Mm-hmm. And the people and the soldiers in Wu Chang are taunting them, saying like, come get us, come get us. And then this young prince, and we'll see more and more of this, like he has to make such difficult choices. And, of course he's Mongolian, and Mongolians have this like great pride about their blood and their lineage. But, Kublai's vision, of course, is not to just be king of Mongolia, but to be king of the world. Yeah. But so like Jing'em is trained in the Chinese ways and, the Chinese philosophies and education.
And Arik hates that.
Yeah, and Arik hates that. And so, but we don't know that Arik betrays him in the beginning, right?
Sorry.
So like they go in. It's okay.
I jumped ahead. Sorry.
So they go in, and of course they're completely defeated. And Jing'em comes back, and Kublai is like incredibly upset for a couple of different reasons. One, because Mongols don't lose.
Yeah.
And two, he's like, "Where's my brother? Like, where was he?" So like, what was your feeling when all that happened?
Well, I mean, I kind of figured that something was up with Arik.
Yeah. And you like had a feeling that What do you mean? Like,
well, I thought, well, clearly he didn't show up. He's the one. He made such a big stink about it in the counselors meeting in the very first part, and then he never shows up. You know something's up. He's like, all right, like, and I found that a little iffy. But what stood out to me in that scene was when the mom comes.
I totally agree.
That woman's a boss. Like, that woman's a chief. Like,
Chabi is I know, she's the boss.
She just runs everything. It was crazy.
Mongolian women are very, like, I've actually had lots of Mongolian friends, and they all of the women,
and they're all queens.
They kind of are. They're very fierce, and that's the other thing is, like, what stood out to me is that this is like, 1270. You know what I mean? Like, this is like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago. But they're so modern. Like, the Kublai's Mongolia was so modern, like open to all religion. You know what I mean? Like, empowering women.
He sounded a lot like when he mentions they had this brief little moment where they talk about Alexander.
Yes.
And I know, wasn't that a big thing about Alexander? Didn't he follow the same ways? Like, he let people have their own religion because that's how he controlled them. That's how he held power.
Exactly.
And I don't think it's a coincidence that he's very understanding of what Alexander did. That's a good ruler.
Absolutely. But I thought it was kind of funny. He was like, aren't there like 20 cities named after Alexander? Yeah, I possess all of them now.
I got all of them. Yeah. I mean, like you said, you're Korean. My nationality is Haitian, so I'm Haitian American.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so my background, we have a lot of dictators. So the Papa Doc was a Haitian dictator. But the thing with dictators is it causes rebellion. So with Papa Doc, it caused rebellion because his was my way or the highway.
Right.
But here you have someone
like Kublai,
who wasn't like my way or the highway.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, it's still my way or the highway, but he gives you enough.
Totally. Totally. I agree.
His way is still nice. It's not that bad.
Yeah, exactly. It's better off than what you would have.
Yeah.
When we see that when Sangha is taking Marco around the town, and Sangha is a tax collector.
Sangha.
I know, poor Sangha. I really love that character too.
And it's crazy because it was literally one episode. Well, he was
one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the whole series.
Yeah.
I saw the whole series. I had to binge watch it.
Yes,
Michael didn't.
Yes, I
so
didn't.
We'll keep it.
Yes.
He'll keep me in check.
See, I'm the anti-spoiler guy. See?
Yes.
Right.
So we meet the Chinese side. So the Song dynasty, and then we meet the chancellor, and we meet Mei Lin, who is his sister, who is of course the royal consort.
She's awesome.
She is awesome. She is amazing.
Yes,
she is so impressive. I gotta say, her courage. I mean, like, that's a tough role to play, but she plays it with such elegance and such I don't know, she has like this like regal quality. Like you immediately get her. Like I don't look down at, like, as a woman, like I don't look down at her.
Yeah, like her sex scene. See, that sex scene, that first sex scene.
Okay, that sex scene. Let's talk about the sex scene.
I really thought she was gonna kill the guy.
Me too. Do you think she did?
No, I think she's just,
I wasn't sure. I thought
just letting him know.
I think they kind of left it open a little bit.
No, she's letting him know, like, hey, it's a good time. I'm gonna push the boundary because some people like that.
Yeah.
Some people like that extra freaky stuff. They like it to want to be pushed to the very edge and then brought back.
Right.
Then he'll come back later.
Yeah, I know. And I think even though she's Chinese, like I think it kind of foreshadowed the fact that she would be sent to, like, Kublai's court and the Hall of Five Desires. Oh, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the Hall of Five Desires.
The Hall of Five.
What did you think about that?
Oh, hold on. I just want to say one thing about the chancellor, because I don't want to. That guy's a snake, man. The moment I saw him, he just has this cowardly snake thing about him, where, like, the moment, every time he opens his mouth, like, he's just plotting for power. It's just slimy. That dude's slimy.
So slimy.
And that's his sister.
I know.
What's her name again?
Mei Lin.
Mei Lin. I always call her concubine princess. So Mei Lin.
She's not a princess.
No, but she's like he called her the concubine. He called her something.
The royal consort.
The royal consort. There it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Olivia Chang is the actress's name. She's from Canada. She's Canadian.
She's from Canada. Oh, I used to live in Montreal.
Oh.
Maybe I know her. No, I doubt it. But but the chancellor, he's just. He's just slimy. And then you see him, he's like plotting, and like the guy's dying. Like the emperor's dying.
Right.
And he's
the
just...
Chinese emperor is passing away. Yeah. And Jia Shidao, the chancellor, cannot wait until he's gone.
Yeah.
What a snake.
And like in front of everyone. Everyone knows it too.
I know. That was
Everyone
the
knows
crazy
it.
thing. Like the empress is like well aware of the fact that, you know, like, I know. Oh, man. Wait, dude, that's just the tip of it.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, there's so much more
something's going on.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about how, you know, we thought the first episode was very slow paced.
Yes.
And even the second episode was kind of slow paced.
Yeah.
But, you know, like Netflix shows, they kind of had this slow build.
Right.
Because they have the luxury, because there's so many. That's the luxury of not having to wait a week. That you can binge watch. That's the luxury.
Right.
And it's just, you could just tell that something's going to happen.
Yeah. And I think like Netflix shows tend to be very character driven.
Yes.
And I think Marco Polo is very character driven. You know, you really have the sense of like, kind of like sort of the archetypes in the story. I mean, like Marco Polo is obviously this kind of, you know, kind of like almost like a chosen one.
Yes.
But you know what? That kind of reminds me. And this might be a little off topic,
all right,
so forgive me.
I'll bring it back if you go too far.
Okay, that's why we have each other.
That's why I'm here.
So, I mean, I love Marco Polo.
Yes.
But I was wondering, like, did we need somebody like Marco Polo to kind of like delve into this world? Like, it just the thought kind of crossed my mind today. Like, do you think a show like Marco Polo could have worked without any Western face? If it was an Asian show in English.
Well, I mean, isn't it about? See, this is where history comes in. Isn't this a historical? Wasn't Marco Polo really in this situation?
Yes, absolutely.
So, I mean, the actor is a Western face. The actor is Italian.
Yeah,
it's like the actor. I read up that the actor, like, he didn't even speak English when he was doing this role.
Wow,
he had to learn.
really?
He had to really grasp his English better.
That's amazing.
So
I didn't even know that.
So if it's through the eyes of Marco Polo, it doesn't. I mean, because I think it's fine, only because there's such a diverse cast, and he's the only.
And he's the only.
He's the only white
I know,
guy.
but it just made me wonder if that was like a strategic move or not, which like is not bad. Absolutely, like I think it's really interesting to see it from this kind of perspective.
Yeah.
You know, because he's an outsider, but you know, as the show progresses, we kind of see he's like, you know, that kind of goes back and forth. Am I an outsider? Like, am I loyal to Kublai or am I loyal to my family? And I think it'll be interesting when these kind of decisions come up in the future.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
Okay. So,
so we were on the Song Dynasty. So we just leave from the Song Dynasty.
Yeah. The Song Dynasty, and the emperor is passing away. Mei Lin was the way that Zhao Shidao. That was the other thing too. It's like, you know, she was his way in.
I know. He's shady. I mean, he's shady.
So shady.
There's no way around. I mean, the guy's shiesty. Like, he wants power.
Yeah.
And he's willing to sell out his sister.
Yeah, I know. But I think it's really interesting the role that concubines play in this world. Because before the Battle of Wuchang, we see Jing'em, which is the son of Kublai. And next to him is Kublai's other son.
Oh, yeah, the bastard son, yeah.
The bastard son, right?
Right, is that what it is? His bastard son?
Yeah, I kind of guess he is, but he's the son of the concubine.
Yeah.
But he's obviously important because he's right there always, you know, but
it's not his main wife. Is that what it is? It's not the main, it's not the empress, right?
Chabi.
Yeah, it's not Chabi.
Yeah.
Is she called, what was her title? What's her official title?
She's the queen of Mongolia.
Yeah, so she's the number one.
Yeah, she's the number one.
Okay.
I think Kublai has other wives. He's mentioned them before, you know, like in the later episodes he mentions them, but like Chabi is his favorite wife.
And Chabi's
awesome. She's a boss. Yeah, I know it. And so let's go back to the Hall of Desires, because I thought that scene was really interesting. The way that it was the Hall of Desires, and it was the Battle of Wuchang.
And I thought there was an interesting. I'm going to tell you an interesting take I had on it.
Yes.
But finish what you're saying.
No, I want to know.
I thought it was interesting how during that whole scene, it ended with them sending Marco Polo through the Hall of Desires and telling him you can't touch anything.
Yeah.
Pretty much to get the favor of Kublai.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, you had his son pretty much going to the fight.
Yes.
So he can gain the favor of Kublai.
Yes.
So you literally had in that moment, like, it was a dual scene of two people doing their best to fight for his honor, for what they.
Absolutely.
So it was kind of like two sons fighting for the respect of their father.
Yes, exactly.
So,
I had the same feeling. It was,
I thought that was unique.
like that whole scene was about, you know, temptation and, you know, yeah, I mean, like the fight to win Kublai's, you know, respect.
Yes.
To show your loyalty, you know. I thought that was really interesting. And like, what do you think the snake symbolized? Because in that sequence, you also had 100 Eyes, who was kind of like tempting and baiting the snake while kind of appeasing it at the same time.
I have no idea. I never even really thought about this. I just thought like, oh, okay, that's cool. Look, he's blind and he's controlling snakes.
Yeah.
But I know in retrospect, there's gonna be a moment where if I go back after the season and watch that, I'm like, oh, it was symbolism or something.
Yes,
I didn't get it though.
I've seen these first two episodes at least 4 or 5 times, and it's really interesting because every single time I watch it, it gets better and better and better.
It's like, yeah.
I wonder, like, it's almost deceptive how simple it looks on the surface, but the more you watch it, you really understand how many like little things they throw in there.
Yeah. I watched it for the first time last week, and then I watched it again this week. When I saw it again for the second time, it's just so many things. Like, you know, like just the first interaction from episode 1, it was I viewed it completely differently.
Yeah.
You know, just
what do you mean?
Just when he was.
Oh, like episode 1 versus 2?
This episode 1, the second time I saw it.
Oh, I see. The second time you saw episode 1. Yeah.
So when he was going, just when they were meeting Kublai Khan for the first time, I just looked at that interaction.
Crawling.
And
I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, Marco was he was just, the whole time he's just looking at his father, just copying him. Like, all right, so what's happening?
Yeah, because he has no idea. Yeah.
I just saw it. There's always like nuggets. Every time you go back, there's always something new.
I know.
That's good writing.
That is good writing. And I think, I wonder if they did that purposely because like Netflix obviously like has a show, so like maybe it's meant to be viewed more than once.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Well, yeah. I actually I don't even know if they did it on purpose. I think more often than not, when something's written well, there's always going to be things in there you don't notice. I don't think they purposely put like, all right, this is just to be this is gonna be redone.
That's true.
I think if you just do a good job writing something, there's always gonna be layers to it.
Right.
So when you go back, you're always gonna be like, I didn't even notice that.
Right.
I didn't notice that.
Exactly.
So
yeah. So the Battle of Wuchang is the end of episode 1. So let's move on to talking about episode 2.
Yes.
The Wolf and the Deer. So that opens with, you know, that beautiful sequence, you know, of the title sequence with the calligraphy and the chanting and actually, like, I don't think this is much of a spoiler. Like, that chanting is actual like Mongolians like chanting.
Okay.
And like in future episodes, you actually like see them singing that song. Is that a spoiler?
I don't think so.
Should I say things like that? I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble.
Well,
but
can we edit that? No, I'm playing. All right.
This is live. We can't take anything back.
Oh, well, that's why spoiler alerts.
So it opens with Marco. He's practicing calligraphy, and he asks for salt cakes. So the servant brings the salt cakes and they say Master Marco Polo or Master Marco.
Yes.
So you get a sense that like, okay, like he's kind of found his place, you know, he's getting used to it, like he feels comfortable enough to like ask for salt cakes.
Yeah. And that's weird that they're like he's a slave, but there are people that call him master.
Yeah.
That's always
right, because he asked 100 Eyes, am I a prisoner or am I a privileged guest?
Yeah.
And in the first 2 episodes, you see that theme kind of come up multiple times.
Everyone's a prisoner, technically.
Yeah,
and everyone's also a privileged guest.
Exactly. So I thought that was really interesting. And then we see Jing'em come in, and you know Kublai is very upset, but he's all bloodied up, and we see Chabi come in, and she's like, you know, kind of scolding Kublai, the great Kublai, who is like the most powerful king in the world at that time. And his wife is coming in and being like,
he needs to go clean up.
Yeah, like go.
He needs to go wash himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of like, and I kind of thought he was going to, you know, I kind of thought he was going to be like a pig, to be honest with you.
Right.
More often than not, you know, when you have a king character, stereotypically, he's usually like, 8 wives.
Exactly. But Kublai isn't.
Nah.
Like, he's genuinely like kind of like a noble guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just with a lot of wives.
Yeah.
He's noble. He's noble to his wives, but he's just got a lot of them.
Less than Eric.
I respect that.
Less than Eric though.
Yeah, and he uses it in man games. Like, well, I got more wives than you. You know, you can see that they have that little like
With between Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And Chabi says, you know, like before Eric and Kublai go out there for that epic fight, which we will get to.
Yes.
You know, Chabi says, like, Eric thinks that he can please your women better than you.
Yeah.
And you know, she's like, she knows exactly what to say to get under Kublai's
I love that relationship they show with Arik and him, how they had this playful older brother, young brother relationship.
Let's talk about that relationship.
Okay, sure.
So, you know, at first, Kublai can't believe Eric would betray him.
Yeah.
But he's trusting this new guy, Marco.
I actually think he knows his brother.
Yeah,
I think he was aware of it. I think he knew something was up.
I see. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think he knew.
So
I think that's why he sent Marco.
It wasn't the fact. Oh, right. And I see. So
he sees something in Marco. Yeah.
He suspected it from the very beginning, and he saw something in Marco that he thought this guy is an honorable guy.
Yeah.
So if I send him, he's going to tell me the way it is.
Yeah. I think he knows his son loves his uncle.
Yes.
Because you can see they had a relationship. So his
how sad was that?
Yeah, his son's he's gonna look
not
through
gonna see it.
the eyes of a loving nephew.
Right. I thought that was really despicable of Eric, the way that he manipulated Jingam.
Yeah.
That was really like that kind of made me sad because like he's luring him in and he's like, hey, you know, like I'm looking out for your father.
Yeah.
You know, he's letting all of these outsiders in. You know what I mean? And like he earns the trust of Jingam, and then. Of course, so Jingam's going to go back to the court and say, no, Eric's on your side. He's thinking the best for you. He loves you. And this new guy, Marco, stands up and says, like, actually, like, I think you might be fooling yourself.
Yeah, that's where you finally see that Jingam and Marco are going to have a little
right. Like you said,
tension.
those two sons fighting for their father's loyalty.
Yeah.
Because Marco does have some daddy issues.
He does have daddy issues.
He does.
Yeah, and I think Kublai Khan sees that.
Yeah.
He sees that from the beginning, and Kublai Khan even says
Kinda
later
takes
on.
him under.
Yeah, how he had the same situation with his father.
I know. I love
like, right
that
there,
line when Kublai says, you know, I was about your age when I realized that I had to become the man that I wish my father had been.
That was a pretty epic line.
That was such a dope line.
That was a good line.
I was like, oh my gosh, that was so beautiful and deep. And yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. I think Kublai sees that, you know, and do you think? I don't know. I think Kublai is actually genuine. I want to believe that
he hasn't shown any sides of which makes me worried for him. Because usually in shows like this, guys like that, they don't get it. Don't tell me nothing. Don't spoil anything.
Right.
But it makes me paranoid.
You have a great point. Point. Let's say that for predictions.
Okay.
Okay. I want to see what your thoughts are. This is really cool because I know everything is gonna happen, but you don't know.
Yay.
So. We see Sangha. I'm sorry, I want to go back to Sangha.
Yes, please.
We're actually
That's
introduced.
One of my favorite characters.
Yeah, we're introduced to Sangha in episode 2. And he's the tax collector. And he's this lovely, jolly guy.
Has all these kids.
They love
him.
Peasants.
Yeah.
That was such a fun moment.
Because, come on, my peasants.
Like, Marco was like, can we get these peasants, can we make these peasants go away? And, like, Sangha's like, these are my children. But he has fun with it. And we see that, you know, the Manchurians can't afford to pay the taxes, so he allows them
he was doing a good deed. He was helping them out.
Yeah, I know. My heart was broken.
Oh, I didn't like the way they did it. Because you know what was so good about that moment?
Tell me.
I will. I'm gonna do it right now. Right before was that conversation with the Kublai and his with the wife, and how she mentioned how she wanted him to kill Arik. You know, she said she wanted the horses to trample his body,
right,
and
then
down.
leave him out to rot. Right.
So the next scene, when you literally see that happening, it's kind of like it was like a bait and switch. You're like, oh, did they do that to Arik? Is he ready?
Right.
Then you're like, wait a second, that's not
Arik.
It was just so sudden, and the way they show it was like it was like a realization.
Right.
And Marco kind of did it. Because he can't help but be honest.
We see that. We see him get tormented by that because Ahmed, like Sangha and Marco go to like drop something off to the Minister of Finance, Ahmed, who is also kind of like treated as like a son by Kublai, you know, like so he asks Marco like, hey, have you seen the Jurchens? Like, I hope I'm using that right. Because they say Jurchens, Manchurians, so I don't know.
You're really good with the names. I'm going to be honest with you. I had a hard time with the names. Aside from Marco Polo, I'm calling them concubine. I'm calling them king.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm calling them empress.
I like really like. I try to like make good notes because I wanted like because there's so many important characters in these first 2 episodes.
Okay.
Yeah, but don't worry about it.
So you dissing my notes? You saying my notes?
No, your notes are great. I can't say anything right with you. It's okay, I'm just kidding. So and you. Because he's already kind of messed things up.
Sangha?
No, Marco.
Yeah.
He knows that he has to be kind of careful, you know, if he wants to survive in this world. Yeah. And he actually genuinely, I think, falls in love with Sangha and sees that he's a good man
he likes him.
with a family. And I also love that Sangha could speak Mongolian, and he has like a Mongolian wife. I thought that was very cool.
You see him being playful with his wife,
and
like just to let her know.
Right, and then
he writes her
like,
love letters.
I know. They really made you fall in love with that character.
It's all in one episode. Like he was really introduced the second episode, and then by the end of the episode, he was trampled to death.
I know.
Gosh.
So you see in Marco's face, he hates saying the words that he's saying. Like he doesn't want to say it, but he also knows, and Ahmed is right, you know what I mean? Like the way to win Kublai's, you know, respect and protection is to be as honest as you can possibly be.
Yeah.
You know? And so Marco is like, shoot, I got to be honest with these people.
Yeah.
But he knows something's coming. He knows something's coming.
But that's crazy because if he wasn't honest, that could have been him getting trampled.
Exactly.
It was literally just like one moment.
I know.
They didn't punish him.
I know.
They didn't throw him in jail.
I know.
They found out he did something they didn't like.
They keep it real. So that's the thing is, it's like Kublai is this very generous guy, but he's also like when you do something wrong,
he's stern.
He's really
like beyond stern.
We see that with the guy who stole the horse, the thief who stole someone else's horse, and Kublai is explaining to Marco look, if you steal someone's horse and we catch you, you're gonna have to pay him back with 9 more horses. And if you don't have the horses, you give him your children. If you don't have your children, you die.
Yeah.
And that man didn't have any children.
Yeah.
So we know what's going to happen to that guy, you know. But then we see Mei Lin's beautiful home. We're taken to Mei Lin's beautiful home in the walled city, you know, like that beautiful kind of like, I don't know if that's the palace. I think that's Mei Lin's house with like flowers. And she's telling the story to her daughter, Ling Ling, a.k.a. Sunflower, right? Oh my God, the way that Jia Shidao, the chancellor, calls her Sunflower is so creepy.
Yeah, there's something.
It's so creepy. And he's standing there, he's standing there on the walls, and he's like, "Oh, my precious little Sunflower." I was like, "Ew."
Like,
I don't
he kind of gives that vibe that I'm gonna marry her. He kind of gives that like I don't care if it's my niece, but you know.
Oh my God.
This is back in the days, Mongolia.
That's true.
They didn't have these rules.
That's very
of incest.
True.
No one cares.
I know. Gosh, it's terrible.
That's terrible generalization by me. I was like, this is the past. It's like the 1300s. They don't care. They're marrying their daughters. No one gives a damn. I don't know.
I don't know about that one. I think incest was frowned upon even then.
I hope so.
I think so. But then, you know, Mei Lin is telling Ling Ling the story of the noble tiger who goes to sleep, but, you know, and leaves all of his friends behind. But all of his friends are very happy for him because they know that he's going to a better place. So this is obviously, she's talking about the emperor passing away, and she's preparing Ling Ling for her father's death.
Yeah.
So even though she's the royal concubine, like you get this feeling like she's important to the emperor, and her daughter is not really looked upon as a bastard, but like a genuine daughter of the emperor.
It's crazy how like all these women, it's like they're like concubines, but they're still power players.
I know, they're running shit.
And they're getting respect from the king.
Absolutely.
That's how you do it, I guess. I don't know.
I think back in those days, like everything was sort of kind of.
Back in those days, the concubines.
Back in those days, everything was sort of more primal, and I think women who understood the art of love were powerful.
And it was really an art there, like they.
Yeah.
Like they weren't talking crazy or anything. Like when they're in the I guess
the Hall of High Desires.
Yeah. In my notes I wrote down the whorehouse. I know it's called such a nice name, but
Yeah.
So that's what it is.
No, but you know what? They were very kind of like modern. I was looking at it today. Was that opium that they were using?
I don't know,
it must have been because. I don't think
that was big back then, right?
Yeah, that was pretty big back then. I think it was opium, but I'm almost embarrassed to say this. I noticed that one of the
with the dildo.
Yes.
Yeah,
Did you notice that?
I was like, wait a second.
I was like, wow. Did they have those back then?
Yeah, I noticed that too. I noticed that every episode too. When I rewatched, I was like, what?
Oh my goodness.
Like they didn't have that back then, did they?
I don't know.
And she was just there swinging it. I'm like, what in the hell?
Were there multiple girls? I only saw one.
Yeah, there was like 5 girls, and there was one girl who had
now.
it. Huh? Well, but it was crazy. It kind of shocked me too.
Yeah.
See, they're modern. See, we thought we invented it.
I know they were very
Mongolia.
modern. I know. Yeah.
The House of Pleasure.
Oh my gosh.
They were advanced in technology back then.
So we and then we also get to know the Blue Princess a little bit more in the second episode. The beautiful Blue Princess and her kind of protector, Zabing.
Yeah, Marco doesn't care, man. Marco's just chasing. Marco really is an adventurer. This woman has a guy with a huge blade, and he's telling you if you talk to her, you're going to kill her.
I know.
If that was me,
right?
She would be. I'm like, all right, well, it was nice seeing you this one time. It's over.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He's communicating. He's chasing them down.
My God.
He's literally an adventurer.
Yeah.
To the T.
Right.
Like everything. Whatever.
Well, also, I think like men want what they can't have. I think.
Yeah, but like they want what you can't have, and like
Yeah, but
infeasible, not what you can't have because I might get my head lopped off.
Right. But then we see them have that moment, where she's riding off with her horse, and he follows her because he sees her, and she's like hiding something under the rocks or something like that, and she puts like that little scarf there, and she's like really startled. She's like, did you follow me? And he's like, no, I just saw you, and like they go back, they hear like the bell, I think, because that means like curfew, I guess.
Yeah.
Because he's not allowed to be out of the city after a certain time, I don't think.
I know this guy. He's seeing people get murdered.
Yeah.
For breaking the rules, and he's out there with his horse.
Well, I think he
gallivanting.
He had to get things off his chest. Like he was, clear his mind a little bit. You know what I mean?
And that's the way to do it.
Right, riding the horses.
Yeah, right.
Well, I think the executive producer John Fusco is a huge fan of horses. I think so, but I love that scene of the Blue Princess and Marco Polo just like riding their horses. I thought that was very romantic. Yeah. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was romantic too.
Yeah,
dangerous and romantic.
Yeah,
I thought it was nice.
Yeah, but like even so, as the second episode progresses, we see Marco is picking things up very quickly. Yeah. Like he's really, getting an understanding of how things work, and he's obviously sticking to his plan of being as honest and truthful as he can be to Kublai. Yeah. So and then of course we see Sangha.
Sangha
gets trampled by it, which I thought it was kind of like a kind of noble way to go, because horses are very symbolic. In Mongol culture. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I mean, it was weird that when he said, and he died in a noble way. I was like, okay, so you killed him quick. Like, no, they just put him in a blanket and had like 50
carpet.
Horses. Yeah, a carpet.
Yeah.
And had like 50 horses run over his body back and forth.
But maybe that's how they did it. I don't know, but we have to get to the fight.
Okay, let's go to
the fight.
Okay.
So Arik and so obviously Kublai decides that he's going to kill. Arik.
When let's not skip over when Marco announces that Arik's dead.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So Marco comes back to the court and tells Kublai that he doesn't think Arik's army can make it through, that journey, because they don't have enough grain. Mm-hmm. And Jingham is like totally pissed off, and he's like, who do you think you are? And like, shut your mouth.
Completely, that right there starts the feud.
Are you calling my uncle a liar?
Yeah.
Like, get out of here.
And he was like, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
This is a fact.
This is what I saw.
Yeah. So obviously Kublai, sends horses, and like Marco's thinking, oh my God, I might die.
Yeah, and he was about to run.
I know, he was about to run.
That's the first thing he did that made sense to me.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'd run too. He knows the situation. He's like, all right, I gotta leave.
So these people are not messing around.
Yeah.
So, but he comes back, and we find out that Arik is lying.
Yes.
And then, Chabi convinces Kublai to kill Arik.
Yeah.
But before we see the epic battle, we have to talk about this. I can't believe we haven't.
The butt naked kung fu fighting scene?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Of course, we had to talk about the naked kung fu.
Mwah. That was, and I don't even mean that in terms of like,
Absolutely,
she's a
I know
woman.
what you mean. I know what you mean.
The kung fu fighting in the show, I didn't expect. I didn't know there was kung fu like that.
Yeah,
and
me either.
And I'm a big kung fu fanatic.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it, and I thought that something was going to happen. Like the three guys came in, and she was already aware. She knew that that's why those soldiers were there.
Right, and
they were
she
there
sends out her daughter.
Yeah.
She knows what's happening.
They're there to get what's theirs.
Yeah.
Sexually.
Right.
So, and it's about to go down, and she completely. It was like a Japanese anime. You ever see those movies where they get like. That's the only time I've ever seen someone fight butt naked in an awesome way.
You know
what I mean?
I think you're right. And I have to give a shout out.
I know that sounds crazy.
No. I think you're absolutely right. And I have to give a shout out to Olivia Chang, because that was such a brave thing to do artistically.
Yeah.
I have so much respect for her. I think it was shot beautifully. I think she did an amazing job. I thought she looked amazing.
Yeah, she did.
You know what I mean? Like when she when she was getting undressed and talking about the two yields in one cave, like she had me mesmerized, you know?
I knew something was gonna happen, and then when she just like there she is stark naked and just proceeds to just like annihilate all of them. It was the crazy, and even when she was done, she did a crazy pose.
Yeah, she was like,
and then she got on her knees and just put her hands behind her head. I was like, oh my, who is this woman?
She's a superwoman.
Yeah, it was crazy.
She's superwoman. I respect her so much.
That was that scene. I was thinking about it for a while.
Yeah. I think everybody was thinking about that scene for a while. Like, give credit where credit's due. That
really
scene was amazing. And,
butt naked kung fu fighting. Let's see if they bring it back. Let's see if they have it, if it's like a seasonal thing.
Well, I mean, I think it was like a one-time thing, because, I mean, like, what would you do in that situation? She's not going to be like, oh, excuse me, let me get dressed. I'm about to kill you right now.
Well, that could be her go-to thing. Like, whenever she has an enemy, she's like, hey, maybe I'm going to sleep with you.
Oh, and then she gets...
drops the clothes.
Oh my gosh!
Then she takes
hilarious.
it. Then she takes it to them.
So Joshi Dao was absolutely pissed off about this, and he's like, he's kicking her out.
But like he sent 3 people to rape his sister. That's
not
crazy.
rape, but like have sex. Yeah. But basically, right? Yeah. He's selling off his sister to have sex with these soldiers, which is just so beneath her.
I know.
And it's just
because she only does kings. Damn it.
Yeah.
She only does high end.
Exactly. She's not
soldiers.
Only like governors and kings.
Governors.
Emperors. That's it.
I don't want to say mayors. I don't think they have mayors.
What?
Do they have mayors back
then?
No,
I don't think they had mayors.
House representatives? No, they don't have that back then?
All no. Right. So she gets kicked out,
okay.
And we'll see in later episodes where that takes us. But we have this amazing conversation with Eric and Kublai.
Yeah, that was just weird.
And, they're talking, this is where the title of the episode comes in. The
Wolf and the Deer, right?
Yeah, The Wolf and the Deer. And, Kublai was out for 6 days chasing a deer, and Arik says, you know what I was doing those 6 days? I was preparing my, stuff to like go out there and find you, because you're my brother.
Yeah, he always does that though, because he did the same thing with the son.
I know, he's always
like, hey, I love my family.
So you think that's all talk?
Well, at first I didn't think that until I watched it again, and I was like, man, he doesn't, because he knew he was betraying them, and he's bringing the son.
I don't know. I think he had a point though. He was saying, I don't want to be emperor of the world. He's like, brother, why don't you be emperor of China and I'll be emperor of Mongolia?
Yeah.
I thought that was reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, hey, at least he didn't do something crazy and like stab him while they're talking.
No, I know.
It was a very honorable conversation.
But that's what made me feel like, maybe he had an honorable position.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They both laid everything out on the table.
Yeah.
And Kublai just always comes out looking good.
But then he was kind of stumbling. He's big. He's out of shape.
Yeah.
That really stood out to me. So I wasn't sure what was gonna happen in that fight.
I was very afraid when I saw him. He was like,
I know, and he's like drinking on his horse, and he looks really kind of uncomfortable. Like I was like, is he gonna be okay? Yeah.
So then we go to the big fight scene, right?
Oh my gosh! So these massive armies. No, not like massive, but they're still big.
Yeah.
You know, the sea of Marco said it so eloquently. I'm gonna butcher it. The sea of men or something like that.
Yeah.
Sea of armies or something like
when
that.
He's describing it to 100
Yeah.
It was like you pretty much had both of their armies on each side.
Yeah.
And I think Kublai, he pretty much called an audible. I don't think it was planned to do the one-on-one battle.
Yeah.
Because everyone was ready for this big fight.
Everybody was ready for the fight.
But he just went down and he's like one-on-one to the death, me and you.
Mongol versus Mongol. I thought that was so honorable. I think he knew he was going to do that. He didn't want to tell anybody, but I think he knew he was going to do that. And that's why he told Marco, like, hey, I really want you to tell me faithfully.
No, and knowing that he's probably, because he knows his brother is younger and stronger. And his brother even gave that little scoff, like, he's really going to try and fight me?
Seriously? I know.
And that was a pretty good fight.
That moment when each of them are running into the shot, that slow, like, epic, these, like, two giant people coming at it. And then, like, you know, Eric is kind of beating up Kublai.
Yeah, he was getting him. It made me question either the armors are weak or those swords are strong as hell. Because every time
swords are strong as hell.
Every time they hit them, it always cut through.
Yeah, but then also, like, this is like the 1200s. You know what I mean? Like, this is not the time of, like, you know, heavy duty.
That's when you watch too many like American movies. They're like, oh, this who makes this armor? You know.
So, oh my God, so like Kublai's getting beat up, and we think he might die, and then he stops Eric's sword with his arm.
To the point, it looked like it was gonna cut through.
I know, no, it was bone. That sword was on the bone, and it made me cringe.
It was really.
Every single time I watched it, I was just like, oh my gosh, I could just feel the pain. But what a man Kublai is. I mean, these guys, these Mongol soldiers, they're like legit. These are like Spartans. Like, these are like crazy warriors. And then of course he gives it to Eric.
Oh yeah, he runs him through with the blade, and then he chops off his head. Yeah. And he doesn't even give him the full chop. He just chops off, and the head like still hangs. Oh.
Yeah.
Man, it was so vivid.
I know, it was so vivid.
Maybe the swords were sharp, to be honest with you.
I'm sorry?
Maybe the swords were kind of sharp.
Yeah, I think this.
I mean, he's chopping off heads.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost going through bone.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Maybe it's not the armor. All right, my bad.
Well, so that was the end of episode 2. So much happened in these first 2 episodes. I know. I didn't think we would be able to talk so much about it, but
I didn't know I was that into it. It was really good. I mean, I knew I liked it, but damn.
Yeah, right. I know. The more you talk about it, the more you get into it. So that was the first 2 episodes of Marco Polo. Do you have one prediction for us? What do you think is going to happen in the future?
I'm questioning.
Now, your AFTERBUZZ TV.
Prediction.
Oh, okay. I'm like, wait a second.
Mike is like, what's going on?
Did we pay the bills? What happened? With the Ming Li was her name?
Mei Lin.
Mei Lin, she's going to work her way into Kublai Khan's realm, and that's going to cause friction with the queen of the Mongols. And I think that is going to start something. Because she knows how to she knows how to get up there. You saw from the very first episode when she was having sex with that guy. Yeah, she knows how to work. She just knows. She just gets it. Yeah, so she's going to become a power player in Mongolia. Wow. I think that's what's gonna happen.
That's no. You're I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared for her though, because I don't want that to happen.
Right.
Because the last few years I've been watching Game of Thrones, and I'm used to TV where characters you like get killed. Like, just like episode 2 with Sandra. Like, I like this guy. Boom, trampled. So I'm kind of like, I feel like I'm getting attached to her. She's fighting butt naked. Yeah. She's smart. She's outthinking everybody. I know. I don't know.
So we'll see.
I hope nothing happens to her.
So tell us where we can follow you.
Oh, yes, please. Twitter, @Michael_Drew. And that's Michael, CHEAL. Right. And for Instagram, that's just Michael Drew straight across.
Nice. And you guys can follow me on Twitter, ms_Junli, and Instagram as well. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining us.
That was a good time.
Check us out on iTunes.
Yes.
Download and subscribe. Woo!
See you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AFTERBUZZ TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AFTERBUZZTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AFTERBUZZ TV.
Buzz you later.
Hey. hey, sorry.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.